Greetings, y'all! So, today we're going to do, I guess this is the fourth episode of the pickups I've made so far in 2020. I think all of these are online. I haven't been back in a record store since this all started. I've done a couple of curbside pickups. Record stores are reopening, so I'm looking forward to getting back into one, but still ordering stuff online and from bands directly so far. So let's take a look what else I got. First up, from 2019, Tracy, Bryant, and Hush. I think I got this from his Bandcamp page. I know it came directly from his label, first and foremost, but I can't remember if I ordered it directly from them or Bandcamp, but I think Bandcamp. I heard one of the songs from this just kind of like, it might have been suggested to me when I was looking up stuff on YouTube or some other music, and then this was like suggested, and I just kind of listened to it and said, oh, that's pretty good. I haven't dug too deep into it where I could tell you like, this track is my favorite, this isn't. You know, a lot of this stuff that I've got here, you'll probably be hearing from me, is that I haven't gotten the chance to really hunker down and listen to it, and sort of really pay attention. I've been kind of having stuff on in the background while I do some work and what have you, but I'm enjoying this. It's kind of alternative rock, and it's always good helping out like these artists, smaller artists who are on a smaller label or what have you, and they could always use it, especially now because they can't do live shows or whatever. Now we have 1993, a band I'm sure you all know, In Excess, Full Moon, Dirty Hearts on CD. I liked In Excess. I probably got into them like most people in the United States when Listen Like Thieves came out, and Kick, of course, and then from then on I kind of was picking up the records as they came out. And then after Welcome to Wherever You Are, which was a good record, but after that I kind of lost touch with the band. The stuff that I heard them putting out just didn't really catch my ear so much. And I was listening to this really great podcast called The Hustle. And he had Andrew Farris on recently, and they were discussing the whole In Excess catalog. And they were talking about these later albums, this one and Elegantly Wasted. And they played a track from it. I don't remember which song they played from it. But I was like, oh, that sounds pretty good, and I thought maybe I should take a crack at one of those records, and maybe I misjudged it, or maybe I was missing out all these years. Maybe the record was really good. So I found this on eBay, I believe, and got it fairly cheap. And I listened to it, and I gotta be honest, it didn't really catch my ear. Like, there was maybe one song that I kind of dug, and it was probably the same one that he had played on the podcast. But nothing else really jumped out at me. It just kind of felt like them kind of going through the motions a little bit. And I hate saying that because they were a good band, and it's tragic what happened to them. But I feel like I got to give this a couple more listens before I really kind of close the book on it. From 1981, we've got Robin Lane and the Chartbusters, Imitation Life. This is their second record for Warner Brothers. I talked about them on a previous pickup episode. I had one of their songs on this DIY CD for Boston bands that came out years ago. I had that CD, and it was their song on there. Was really good. I think it was When Things Go Wrong is the title. Picked up their vinyl a few years ago, and then this year is when I really kind of listened to it and paid attention to it and really liked it. And then earlier this year I got the album on CD so I could put it on my iPhone or whatever. And then after thinking about it, I think even after about talking about it on the previous episode, I was like, let me check into the rest of their catalog. And they put out like a live EP, and this was their second album. And I'm pretty sure I got this off Discogs, and I think it was shrink wrapped when I bought it. And I think it was unopened. It has a little cutout, but I think it was unopened. The copy I got is in great condition. And I don't think I paid a lot for it. I think maybe $5 to $7 I think I got it for. But I just was like, let me take a crapshoot on it and see how it is. The first record's really good. And I bought it, and I really like it, It's grown on me. I really am enjoying it. I can't honestly tell you which songs, again, I hate saying this because I haven't really been, marking down the song titles as well as I should. But it's good. Like when I've had it on, listening to it, it all is sounding really, really good. It's kind of like that, new wave, early pop, rock, alternative kind of stuff. They were on Warner Brothers, a big label. Some of the stuff, when I hear this first album had the same impression as this album, it's surprising me that the label couldn't really break this band, because the songs are really, really good and really catchy. And it's funny, I watched Valley Girl, the old, like, 83, I guess it came out, in the movie a couple nights ago, and that's got a great soundtrack, and I'm listening to that and I'm like, geez, like, how did, like, Warner Brothers, they should have, some of their tunes would have been perfect on that, in that movie, on that soundtrack. Like, how did they not, like, get them on there or do something with them? Like, it just crazy that it didn't. I mean, again, I don't know what they were doing at the time, how much they pushed it, but I'd never heard of them until in the 2000s, when I got that compilation CD. 1982, we got 9 Below Zero, Third Degree on CD. Discovered this band in the 80s, loved this show called The Young Ones, British sitcom, crazy show. It used to be on MTV on Sunday nights. Loved that show, became a massive fan of it, still am to this day. They would have bands play on the show. It enabled them to kind of be classified as a variety show instead of just a sitcom, so it got them a little bit more money in their budget, so that's why they did it. And they'd have, bands of the day. The Young Ones was in like the 82, 84 era, and one of them was 9 Below Zero playing their song 11 Plus 11. And I loved that song, but I never thought to, pick up the album, see what the rest of their output was like. Never occurred to me until literally, I've been a fan of the Young Ones since 87, I guess, and always loved their song. And it wasn't until, maybe a month or two ago that I said, I wonder what that album is like, and I just found it on, I guess, eBay or Discogs, and decided to take a chance on it, and I got it. And I'll tell you, man, it's really, really good. I really like this. 11 Plus 11 kicks it off. Egg on My Face, Sugar Beat's really good. Mystery Man's really good. Easy Street is really good. And they're really catchy. And I don't know how they didn't, make a dent here in the United States. I don't know how they did in England, where they're from. It surprises me that we're not more familiar with these guys. Kind of rock. There's like sort of a soul element to it, with their harmonicas and stuff. But a really good band. Check them out, 9 Below Zero. From 2010, Oh No, Oh No, and their album Eggs. Got it backwards, not that you would be able to tell. This is a slipcase, actually. Let's take it off. It's like kind of embossed or whatever. The title, the band name, the title is in here. Heard this band, a song on here called Helplessly Young. I think I might have gotten on like a sampler, and it's a great tune. I love it. Heard it back then, 2010, and I really loved it. And I remember at the time, maybe on YouTube or something, listening to one or two other songs by them, and they didn't really do anything for me, so that's why I never really pursued the album or thought to pick up the album to hear the rest of it. But that Helplessly Young song I love, still love. And then just, a few weeks ago, I think it just popped up when I had my music on shuffle, and I was like, oh man, I forgot about this song and how great it was. And it just made me rethink about the band, and I just looked online to see how much the CD was, and I found it pretty cheap, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to take a crack on that. Why not? And I'm glad I did, because now I'm listening to this record and I'm really, really liking it. Wave Ballet, I think I remember thinking that was a pretty good tune. Miss Moss, I think, was a good one. Again, I should do better work on this, because I should know the names of some of these songs that I really like. But the point is that at the time, the other songs I heard by them didn't really jump out at me, and now they are. It's funny, because one of my favorite bands, Yeah Yeah Yeahs, when I got their first full-length album, Fever to Tell, and I listened to it, I think I had the digital version of it somebody gave me, and other than Maps, nothing really else caught my attention. And then a few years later, I suddenly just became a huge fan, you know. So it's just one of those things. Sometimes something you've kind of forgotten about or given up on or whatever, you pull it out and suddenly you're like, oh, this is 100 times better than I remember. I guess it's kind of like electronica, sort of, you know, electronica, alternative rock. The booklet on the CD is kind of interesting because it's almost like a flip book. You know, you got like the pages cut and you can kind of mix and match, etc., etc. Kind of odd, unusual. It's just pictures. There's no kind of liner notes or anything about it, but kind of interesting. Now we have something actually from 2020. This is the Reflectors' First Impression. I'm assuming this is their first album. I got this through deep discount, same as Tracy Bryant. I think I just heard one song and I kind of liked it and just decided, you know, if the CD's not too expensive, I'm gonna pick it up. Again, I don't remember which songs here are the ones that I really, really like, but you know, it's a record that quite a bit has caught my ear. You know, even if I just had it on the background, like it's kind of like, oh, you know, that sounds pretty good. Who is it? Oh, it's the Reflectors record. This was released on Burger Records, which just folded. They had all kinds of problems there. It looked like they were going to kind of switch owners and continue on, but they just folded outright. Good band, good album, kind of rock, kind of, you know, kind of pop punk sound to them. The CD's from 1992, but this album was from 1966. We have the Sandals soundtrack for Bruce Brown's epic surf documentary, The Endless Summer. I have one other album by the Sandals. I think it's called The Spirit of Surf, that I had bought years ago. And just recently, after I bought a Crocodile Dundee soundtrack, which the theme reminded me of the Sandals, and then I said, you know what, I've never picked up their Endless Summer soundtrack. I should dig that up. And I went on like eBay or something and was looking, and it was kind of, the CD was kind of expensive. Even I think the vinyl that I would find was kind of expensive. I remember they had their own company, Tri-Surf Records, and I went to their website. The stuff was still available to buy. I purchased this. I think it was maybe 15 to 17 bucks, but that was still far cheaper than what people were asking for this on eBay and such. Mostly instrumentals, kind of that mellow summer vibe. You know what you're expecting, this kind of surf music. But they're a really good band. I really like them. 1983 release brings us Naked Eyes, Burning Bridges. All I really knew about these guys were their two songs that everybody would probably know, Always Something There to Remind Me and Promises, Promises. I remember their follow-up album song, I think it's called What in the Name of Love. I kind of remember that making, like, back then in like the 80s or mid-80s, I was reading Billboard magazine a lot and looking at the chart, and I kind of remember that making a slight dent, but just kind of faded away, and then you just never heard of them again. You know, I'd been on a bit of a new wave kick the last couple of years, maybe 4 or 5 at this point, I don't know. But again, it was just one of those things. This band kind of popped into my head, and I was like, I wonder what the rest of their album sounds like. Picked this up. This is a reissue Cherry Pop put out. There's probably 4 or 5 versions of Promises, Promises on here. One of them's remixed by Jelly Bean. Remember him from the 80s? And it's funny because, you know, he was tied to Madonna. And Madonna, there's like kind of a break in this remix that he did. And Madonna sings on that track. So that's kind of an interesting little bit of trivia, right? I don't know, maybe not. But, you know, I haven't listened. I've listened to maybe half of this. When I have it on my iPhone and I put it on shuffle of like all these new songs, and it seems like every time I do that, whenever a song by Naked Eyes pops up, it's one of the Promises remixes. So I keep hearing. I've probably heard every Promises remix on here, but a couple of the other tunes, a little dated. That synth, you know, early '80s new wave synth. I gotta dig a little deeper into this before I can really judge it, but. You know, those two songs, Promises, and Always Something There to Remind Me, are really fantastic. Great tunes. I think I read one of these dudes has passed away since. But again, I think they only really put out like 2 albums, and that was kind of it. You know, for them. But you know, see how it goes. I'll listen to the rest of this and maybe get back to you and let you know what you think. Or maybe some of you out there know this album and can kind of fill me in on what tracks you like. From 1984, we've got the Vibrators, Alaska 127. Album covers kind of got that shiny, whatever they call that, kind of weird. But I don't know what that 127, I don't know what the title, the significance of the title is. I'm pretty sure I read the liner notes for this, but I don't think they mentioned anything about that. Kind of like punk. I discovered them, I was watching some video on YouTube, and the little like suggested other song videos or whatever came up, and one of them was by this band. It was a song called Baby Blue Eyes, which is on here, and I listened to it and I liked it, and I just kind of like read a little bit about the band, and I was like, oh, that seems like something I might like. So looked on online to see what the album was going for, and I think I got this, I bought it brand new. I think I might have got it from deep discount, probably fairly cheap, maybe in like the under $10 range. Again, I haven't listened to it, given it like tons and tons of listens, but what I'm hearing, I'm liking. Like I mentioned, the Baby Blue Eyes was the one that kind of draw me to the band. I was reading some stuff online about this band, and it seemed like a lot of people were saying that some of their earlier stuff was a lot better. That's what everybody always says about bands, isn't it? But I'm interested to maybe check out some of their other stuff, considering that I really am liking this album. This was put out by Cleopatra Records. I guess this is a reissue. This was put out in 2012 by Cleopatra. They've done some pretty good releases. That is it for this edition of the records I've picked up in 2020. There'll be at least one more. I've still got a couple other ones that are waiting in the wings to talk about. By all means, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of any of these bands or these albums or other albums by these bands. Maybe tip me off to some of them. Please subscribe and like. Watch the other episodes. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.